In commercial sectors today, artificial intelligence has rapidly transitioned from a mere novelty to a standard piece of infrastructure. For centuries, high-fidelity art was gated by physical friction. Moving an idea from a mental image to a finished work required hundreds of hours of manual labor and technical refinement. That bottleneck has effectively disappeared. This chart illustrates aesthetic inflation. As the supply of flawless output moves toward infinity, the premium paid for technical beauty erodes, settling near the hardware's cost. This surplus floods the market with creative slop, work achieving a high finish without underlying thought. We can see the psychological effect in how audiences respond. The initial awe that greeted these images is being replaced by a distinct sense of fatigue. When immaculate technical quality is everywhere, it stops providing a competitive advantage. Instead, the human brain begins to instinctively filter it out. You can feel this when you look at a highly polished AI-generated report or digital painting. There is often a nagging sense of distrust. That reaction isn't about the design or the pixels. It is an observation that the creator's labor is missing. If the output is technically correct, why does our brain still flag it as hollow? Generative AI produces work through pure mathematical pattern recognition. It operates without biological memory or a lived existential experience. To understand our rejection of that process, we have to look at the concept of intentionality. This is the requirement that art be directed by a conscious mind with a specific purpose. Consider Kazimir Malevich's Black Square. While requiring little technical skill, its value is tied to the intentional choice to abandon reality for pure feeling. A machine follows an objective function. It lacks the internal life or worldview required to make such a choice. Because these tools bypass the biological need to process joy or suffering, the resulting work lacks a dimension of meaning that cannot be faked with technical polish. Friedrich Nietzsche argued this inner struggle was mandatory for creation, famously writing, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." That historical perspective is mirrored in the way modern artists describe their own process. Musician Grimes noted her most resonant art stems from volatility and heartbreak. Her work resolves an emotional need, rather than achieving a stable, optimized output. We are beginning to recognize that historical inefficiencies, the messy drafts, the physical tremors, the emotional friction, are not obstacles to discovery. They are the actual cognitive tools we use to find meaning. The struggle is not a barrier to the artwork. It is the texture that makes the art feel real. The creative economy is splitting into two distinct lanes. The first is the domain of automated scale, where machines handle high-volume, predictable commercial production. In response, human artists are moving into a second lane defined by intentional, slow craftsmanship. This creates a new pricing ladder. AI-generated work is becoming a commodity at the bottom, while handmade, intentional work commands a premium at the top. This automation makes it impossible to compete on the basis of machine-like efficiency. The financial viability of humans acting as high-speed production engines is over. This brings us to a phenomenon called proof of humanity. Deliberate flaws, like visible tape marks or a tremor in a vocal track, now serve as a vital signal of authentication. This explains why a messy, hand-drawn sketch on a whiteboard can build more consensus and trust in a meeting than a flawlessly rendered slide deck. For creators, the instinct to use AI to hide your technical or physical limitations can be counterproductive. In an era of synthetic perfection, your most valuable artistic and commercial asset is your struggling, deeply flawed humanity.